Elements can be classified as metals and non-metals on the basis of their properties. The properties are either physical properties or the chemical properties. Now first, the physical properties of the metals. To study the physical properties of metals, metals which are easily available are selected, like iron, copper, aluminium, magnesium, sodium, lead, zinc. Now in this activity 1, the property that is discussed is metallic luster. All the metals have metallic luster. What do you mean by metallic luster? It means that all the metals have a shining surface. Now condition is metals in their pure state have a shining surface. Very common example of metals having shining surface is gold and silver. Gold and silver, they have shining surface. Gold is the most unreactive metal, so its surface remains shining for a very long period of time, because of which gold and silver are used in making jewelry. But other metals like iron, copper, they get coated with a layer of their oxide or carbonate. These metals are reactive metals. When they come in contact with the oxygen and moisture and carbon dioxide of the air, they may react with these gases of the air, and a coating of either oxide, carbonate is formed on their surface and their surface becomes dull. But if these metal surfaces are rubbed with sandpaper, this coating is removed and the shining surface can be seen again. So it can be said that all the metals, they have a metallic luster, and those metals which are less reactive or which do not react, they retain their luster for a long time. Common example, gold and silver, and these are used in making jewelry. Second activity discusses the hardness of the metal. Now usually the metals are hard, like iron, copper, aluminium, magnesium. It is not possible to cut these metals with knife. But exception to this are the metals like sodium and potassium. These metals are soft metals. They can be cut with knife. So it can be said that the metals are generally hard, but the hardness varies from metal to metal. Now sodium and potassium metals, these are very reactive metals, because of which these metals are kept under kerosene. Sodium and potassium metals are very reactive metals. These metals, if they come in contact with air, they may react with the oxygen and moisture of the air, and the reaction is very vigorous reaction, and sodium metal may also catch fire when comes in contact with air. Third activity discusses the property of malleability of metals. Now what is malleability of metals? Malleability means metals can be beaten into thin sheets. If metal is struck with a hammer, then this metal will change. A block of metal can be changed into a sheet of metal. Common example of metal sheet is sheets of iron. Another example of a metal sheet is aluminium foil, which is used for wrapping food. Next property of metal is ductility. What is ductility? Ductility means metals can be drawn into wire. Iron, copper, gold, all these metals, they can be drawn into thin wires, and in the electrical circuit copper wire is used. Gold, because of its property of ductility and malleability, is used to make jewelry. The most ductile metal is gold. The most malleable and ductile metal is gold. Now because of the malleability and ductility, metals can be given different shapes according to our needs. Since the metals can be beaten into sheets, metals can be drawn into wires, metals can be given different shapes according to the needs. The utensils are made up of metals, the jewelries are made up of metals, the wires, the electrical wires are made up of metals. Now next activity discusses the property of the conductivity of metals. Metals are good conductors of heat and they have high melting points. Now this is the activity. This is a stand, this is a clamp. A metal wire is fixed to this clamp. One end of the metal wire is fixed to the clamp. Other end of the metal wire, a pin is attached with the help of wax. Now end of the metal which is clamped is heated with the help of a burner. After some time, the wax melts and the pin falls down. So what is the inference? The inference is heat can travel from one end of the metal to the other end of the metal. So metals are good conductors of heat. They can conduct heat from one end to the other end. Second thing is, though the metal is heated for a long time using this burner, this metal does not melt, which means that the metals have high melting points. So best conductors of heat are silver and copper, and lead and mercury are comparatively poor conductors of heat. So in short, whatever properties are discussed till now, metals, they are usually hard. Exception is sodium and potassium. These are the soft metals. Metals are generally in solid state. Exception is mercury, which is found in liquid state. Metals have shining surface unless and until they get coated with the layer of their oxide or carbonate. Metals are good conductors of heat, like silver and copper, which are the best conductors of heat, but poor conductors of heat are lead and mercury. Then malleability and ductility. Metals are malleable, that is, they can be beaten into sheets. Metals are ductile, they can be drawn into wires. Best example of malleability and ductility is gold. Gold is the most malleable and most ductile metal, and because of this property of gold, it is used to make jewelry.